right. All right. I would like to call this meeting to order. Ask us all to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. If I could ask Mr. Kiley at his first meeting back to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. All right, first up are the minutes from prior meetings to consider and act on the minutes of regular meeting of May 17th and special meeting of May 31st. Okay, to take these together?
Yes.
All right. I have a motion to accept,
I'll make a motion.
and I'll second. Any comments, discussion, or changes?
I'm good.
All right. Then the minutes are before us. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Put that over here. Next up, some recognition. We have the Warde, Fairfield Ward dance team that's here with us today for winning the Dance Team Connecticut State Championship for hip hop in the large division and finishing second in the New England Regionals. Can somebody step up to the podium and give us an update and tell us about these exciting things going on at Warde?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Jennifer Keeley. I'm the head coach of the team. This was I've been coaching there for 11 years. This will be my 12th season coming up. And this was our 4th consecutive year winning hip-hop states. And then we've gone to regionals every single year since they've had it for the past 6 years. We've always come in the top 2. So it's pretty amazing.
4th consecutive year for winning the states?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Yes.
We love it, right?
And large division, that's based on school size,
It's the size of the team.
size of the team.
Yeah, they split
Okay.
it up depending on the size of the team.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. Any comments from my colleagues?
I'd like to congratulate you. 4 years in a row is pretty impressive.
Thank you.
It puts a lot of pressure on next year's team, obviously.
Every year, yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I would congratulate all the girls who joined it and the parents for all the work you did to make sure they got to the practices. Being state champions is no small task, especially the level of competition we have in this state. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Kiley?
Congratulations to you and your families, and to you, Coach. You've done a great job. You should be very proud of yourselves, and your parents and your family should be very proud of you as well. I had time to go take a quick peek at some of your videos on YouTube, and I watched the routine that you did to win the championship, and it was fabulous. I mean, it was fantastic. And I also took a couple moments and went through one of your other routines, the one where you changed your shirts from hate to love, and that was really nice. That was in the jazz session, I believe, right? And it was really a great message for you to be sending out to other people and your peers, and congratulations.
Thank you. We truly appreciate this, so thank you so much.
And I echo my colleagues' thoughts and comments, and just want to say that the town is really proud of you all. So I want to thank you very much. That kind of excellence is just superb, and I think that's great training for later in life, and I want to thank you. But also, Coach, to you and to the Warde program that allows this type of program and gives our young women a chance to do this. Back in the day, we didn't have all these different programs, so it was... So I'm just thrilled that we have these opportunities afforded our students today. So again, congratulations, and we have a certificates for each of the girls. So if we can, gentlemen.
Sure.
Let's see. Jerry, where did you want us?
You're good, just as long as they can line up maybe a little behind you and...
Okay, so we're going to ask you to come up, get your certificate, and then kind of move down this way.
Just watch out, George.
So is Jordan Panetto here?
No.
And Coach, if I can ask you to hold
Yeah, thank you.
it. Rachel Goodman?
No.
Got all the absentees up front. Bridget
Yes.
Coyne?
Nope.
Mia Hermson?
Nope.
Marina Green.
Yes, huge.
Sarah McElroy. All right,
All
Sarah.
right.
Congratulations.
There's Sarah. Davion Ferguson.
No. Thank you.
Bella Menta.
Nope.
Crystal Neves.
Mm-mm.
Maya Keith.
Nope. Sorry.
Maya Vetrovsky.
Nope.
Victoria Hermson.
Yes.
All right. Congratulations. Ashley Green.
Nope. Thank you.
Jordan Parsons.
Nope. Thank you.
Emily Hathwaite.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Rebecca Weinstein.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Mia Swale?
Yes.
Mia Swale. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And Rourke Andrews.
Yes. Woo.
Congratulations.
Steele.
Tanika Walker.
Yes.
Right.
We got him.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Steele.
And Jennifer Keeley.
Yes, that's me.
That's you.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, then let's see if we can,
Yes.
then let's get over here.
The important people in the front.
See if we get a picture here.
Oh, Maya.
Oh, Maya, all right.
Maya Trusky.
All right. Maya, congratulations.
Ready? Awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Great job.
Thank you.
Good luck next year.
Thank Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, bye for now.
Have a great summer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for watching the video. Seriously.
Good job, guys.
All right, and next item up
Congratulations, good job.
was going to be recognition for a Fairfield small business owner who could not make it today, so we're going to hold that off and do that at a later meeting. Item 6, resignations. This is for information only, but from the Economic Development Commission, Keith Rhodes, unaffiliated from 302 Birch Road, has resigned effective May 22nd, 2017. All right, then next up, from the Director of Human Resources, to hear, consider, and act upon the appointment for the position of Assessor, Ross D. Murray, CCMA 2. May I have a motion to accept?
Make a motion.
A second?
Second.
Is Mr. Hipson here? If you come up and fill us in.
Sure. Thank you, and good afternoon. As you may remember, well, two-thirds of you will remember, a couple weeks ago, we presented a candidate in executive session, explained the search process that we underwent for the position of assessor. As to fill Mr. Callion in November or December, our assessor had retired, moved on. We did a search, and we did an extensive search to the point where we were actually calling people up and asking them to apply for the position, people that we had good recommendations from. We had a pretty good candidate pool and went through about 3 interviews on a couple of the candidates because of the qualifications. We just had a couple of people who were just very good.
Right.
And Mr. Murray was one of them. There were a couple other people that were also in that category. And at the end of the day, we just felt that Mr. Murray was a good fit for our town. So we came before the selectmen back in May, asked for approval to reach out and negotiate and hire Mr. Murray. He had not notified his town yet. He was, at the time, working in Hamden. And so he had asked that it not be public. We recognized his wish, We did not make a public announcement, so we are back before the board, asking that the board now appoint Mr. Murray. I should say that since then, I have received an email from the lawyer of the town of Hamden, indicating that it was, and I know him personally, indicating that we stole one of his employees and that he'd hoped we'd be allowed to let him testify in court when they had some of the appeals remaining, and that we indicated that, as long as we knew it, we were okay, and as long as Mr. Murray was okay with it. So we believe we have a very good candidate here, and we are very happy to present Mr. Murray for appointment by the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you for the update. Appreciate that.
Okay. Any further questions from the board? We've kind of been through this, but
Yeah.
certainly,
I'm just like to say, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Welcome to the team here in Fairfield. I hope you enjoy your time here and enjoy the assessor's office.
Just quickly, you've got a great resume. I had a chance to go through that. Thank you for sending that over to me. You've got big shoes to fill, Mr. Brown, Mr. Ross, right? But you're up for the job, and welcome on board.
and obviously we've had a chance to work together already, so I'm thrilled you're here, and again, let me join my colleagues and welcome you to the team here in Fairfield. Any further discussion?
No.
Any comments from the public? Seeing none, back to the board. Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
All right. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Emmett.
Next up, item 8, from the Director of Community and Economic Development, and this does require RTM approval. To hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Director of Community and Economic Development. Resolved that Michael C. Tetro, First Selectman, is hereby authorized to submit a grant application requesting funding to develop a complete streets improvement plan for Southport in accordance with the 2017 Responsible Growth and Transit-Oriented Development Grant Request for Applications. Further resolved that the First Selectman is authorized to sign said grant application and any other documents associated with administering the grant, if awarded, including but not limited to the final grant agreement and any amendments hereto. And further resolved that in administering the grant, if awarded, the town of Fairfield hereby agrees to comply with the terms and conditions of the final grant agreement. May I have a motion to accept?
Make a motion.
A second.
Second.
All right. Mr. Barnhart, will you take us through this?
Sure. We became aware of an opportunity through the Office of Policy Management under their Responsible Growth and Transit-Oriented Development Program. In discussions with MetroCog, the Regional Planning Agency, we have been working with them to look at ways in which we might improve conditions along the Route 1 corridor in Southport. And as a result of those discussions, both the town, our office, engineering department, and MetroCog felt that this would be a good fit for a potential grant application to OPM under this program. So we've developed a grant application request. We're requesting, this is modeled after successful applications from a number of other communities, notably Stratford had applied for and received funding for something very similar for the Main Street area of Stratford. And MetroCog was intensively involved in that effort as well. So the idea really, the problem as we understand it and have seen, is that Route 1 is obviously a very heavily congested, heavily trafficked corridor. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing area of town in terms of being an important gateway into our community. Development has occurred over time. It's evolved. There hasn't always been attention paid to making connections for pedestrian and other transit users other than the car. And so we're looking to try to create some connection points between the residential neighborhoods, surrounding businesses, both on Route 1 itself as well as the village center and the Southport train station. In December of this year, we, members of the engineering department, police department, my office, small business owners, Southport residents, and UConn, their technology transfer center, did a road safety audit. We picked one of the coldest days of the year to do it, but it was very eye-opening in terms of the level of pedestrian traffic, which was frankly a little surprising, given both the temperature that day, the time of day. and the fact that it's not really set up to facilitate pedestrian travel. We asked people where they were going. A lot of people were trying to cross a 4-lane highway to get to Southport, and particularly the train station. And so I think this is really something that is long overdue in terms of our looking at this from a holistic standpoint to see what we can do to address both congestion, enhance safety, improve pedestrian mobility and linkages between the village center and the residential neighborhoods. And we have significant local support, as evidenced by the fact I must have 24 letters of support from Southport businesses, residents, neighborhood groups, and the like. So I think we stand a decent chance of getting funding through this program, although it's a very competitive process. We understand that the state has prioritized those cities that have put forth and been awarded Innovation Place grants. So they're looking for implementation monies now, and the state has very clearly articulated that they're giving some preference for those efforts. But even so, I think our request is relatively modest, and hopefully we can get some move forward in terms of addressing this long-standing need. So, there are no local funds involved other than we're proposing an in-kind match of about $10,000, which we will meet through the efforts of the engineering department, police department, and my office in terms of outreach, facilitation, which is principally my role in this, working with the neighborhood groups and local business community and residents. The police department will be providing some traffic counts, and engineering will be providing some GIS and other base mapping to support the effort. So that's it.
Good. Any questions from the board?
Is there a circumference which is built around the train station?
Yeah.
How far does that go? Does it reach like where like Wafu is?
Yeah, we've prioritized the area basically from exit 19 southbound, like Peace Avenue, all
Yeah.
the way to the Westport line. We've positioned this as within a half mile of the Southport train station, which does encompass all that area.
Okay.
But we're really focused on Route 1, which is perceived to be a barrier to pedestrian mobility in the area.
I've received a lot of emails and talked to a lot of people who are very concerned. There's no sidewalks.
Right.
There's a lot of confusion. There's been like an ongoing construction site in between two businesses, Garlic and Herbs, and twice
Yep.
as nice for, it seems like,
Oh,
10 years
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You know, the glass pads over there,
Yep.
it doesn't have the aesthetic look, which I would like to see coming from Westport to Fairfield. When you get there, it's like you're entering this zone which we need to focus on. I think this TOD grant is a great opportunity to get the ball rolling, to help streetscape, not skate, sidewalks, pedestrian access, and all with a big focus on Southport, which is important. So I fully support this.
Mr. Kiley?
Yes, Mark, thank you for bringing this forward. This is a great idea, a great start, and a smart step in the right direction. You know, this is part of a much larger plan that will take place over years.
Right.
But if you were to kind of prioritize within what you think you can do, where do you think you would start first? Is it the sidewalks? Is it increasing the safety of some of the turns? Because there's some roads that come in at angles, like in front of People's Bank.
Yep.
And down near the second, I forget the name of the store,
Or,
the Pink store.
Twice as nice.
Twice as nice, thank you.
yeah.
I think that's Kings Highway.
Is it?
Yeah.
So there are some funny angles for the
Yep.
streets that come in. The one down by the Southport or down by the spa comes in at an angle as well. So
Yep.
it's an interesting mix of roads and things like that, and missing sidewalks, as Mr. Timiak said. So where would you think you would start?
There's perhaps some low-hanging fruit. We've already attempted to address certain key intersections and make some minor improvements. What I think is missing is an overall strategic plan, if you will, an overall strategy for that area. And I think we're going to be limited in terms of what we can do until we address the wide expanse of asphalt that's there. There's a sufficient right-of-way to do some very exciting things, I think, to transform that area. But it's going to mean that we're going to have to, and there's ample room I'm not an engineer, but looking at it, there just seems to be a wide expanse of asphalt that not only accommodates the existing travel lanes, but provides some informal lanes as well. And I think we can do some minor things here and there, but, and I'm certainly encouraging engineering, police, and public works to work with the local community to do where we can, but I think what's missing is an overall plan to transform. And that, I think, you got to start with engaging the local community and figuring out, looking at alternatives, figuring out what works and what doesn't work for them, what will address their needs, and then going to design and construction. And in my view, this is probably going to be, as you said, it's going to be a multi-year effort. But by the time we're done, to really do it right, I think we're talking about a several million-dollar project to address all these areas of streetscape enhancements, sidewalks, and create those, what we'd like to see in that area.
Right, it's a combination of access and safety and
And it's going to
aesthetics.
involve, we're going to have to involve,
Right.
obviously, DOT. So
Right.
to get DOT buy-in, it's very important to demonstrate that there's local support and commitment. And I think that, and to go through this process is, as painful as it might be, and time-consuming in a way. I know what people are anxious to get out there and start digging stuff, but sometimes it requires some thoughtful upfront planning to make sure that what we do ultimately achieves the objectives that we set out. We get buy-in not only from the residents, but from the state.
Thank you.
Now, Mark, it's my understanding planning and zoning has already started some neighborhood meetings and identified different pockets around town to
Yep.
do things. I thought Southport in this area was one of those. And haven't they held some public meetings on this already? How is this being coordinated with the planning and zoning effort in terms of redoing our...
And I neglected to mention, planning and zoning was in the meeting that we had with MetroCog, so that they've been intimately involved, and that's part of the planning effort as well. There may be some need to align our land use policies and strategies with what we envision for this area. So I think it really dovetailed nicely with the Planning and Zoning Commission's efforts to update the POCD as it relates to neighborhood areas around town. I know Southport is a priority for them.
Okay. And then second, how, is this a competitive grant? And
It
how
is.
competitive is it? What's our likelihood of getting it?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think the approach that we're taking is a good one in that we're tempering our request. It's a very modest request, so it might fall into that where they have some money left over and we fit nicely into that category. But it is competitive. I know that there's at least 3 other communities in this region alone that are applying under this program. So if you multiply that statewide, we've got a tough road. I think it's worth the effort. If we're not successful, we're just going to have to go back and look for another avenue to address this, because I don't think the problems are going away. So we've looked at other options, but again, I think similar to what we're going through with the Black Rock Turnpike area, I think it does require a very thoughtful planning effort that engages the local community to figure out what's acceptable, what do we, because there's always trade-offs. I think right now it's obviously very intensely focused on getting the car through that area as quickly as possible, but that's at the expense of other forms of travel, including pedestrian travel.
Okay, and certainly we know that with DOT, it really helps to have a plan supporting whatever request we go to them with.
That's the way they work.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, very good. Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, back to the board. Are you ready to vote? Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now, this will be at the RTM on Monday night?
Yes, it will. We have to actually make the application by Friday, but we're allowed another month to perfect our application in terms of providing a resolution from the legislative body, so we'll meet that. We also need an endorsement from MetroCog, the regional planning agency, and I know we have a letter indicating that they support the application, so it'll be before the executive board there, too, for approval.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Mark, thank you. Good luck on Monday. See you at the RTM meeting.
Be there.
All right, next up, item 9. To hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution, and this resolution does require RTM approval. Resolved that the lease agreement between the town of Fairfield and Operation Hope for continued use of the property at 50 Nichols Street from May 15, 2017 to May 14, 2027 for a shelter and to provide other services for the homeless in Fairfield is approved, and resolved that First Selectman Michael C. Tetro is authorized to hereby execute the lease agreement on behalf of the town of Fairfield. Mr. Lesser, may I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion.
A second?
Second.
Mr. Lesser, will you take us through?
I will. Good afternoon. Just very briefly, Operation Hope has been occupying this building, I believe, for about 30 years. They typically get a 10-year lease. The lease expired in May. What I did was I took the lease that we were using. I couldn't get it in Word, so we scanned it in as a PDF, converted it to Word, and then edited it just very briefly, just to change a little bit of the wording, to change some of the dates and names. But there are no substantive changes from the last 10-year term as I know them. The only thing that this board should be aware of is that I've been dealing with Rob Bolito, who is an attorney and also a member of the board, and he requested that I put in a right of first refusal. And in my discussions with him, I said, I don't recommend them to my clients that own property. I don't think they do the owner of the property any good. But as a courtesy, I'll leave it in and you can make a pitch. And the way things worked out, I've been to the RTM committee meeting. I went there on Monday. I informed them of that. I don't know what action they took. My recommendation to them was that they remove it. I then spoke to Mr. Tetro, who is, under our code, the person who negotiates leases to begin with. He said, I don't want it in any of our leases. I informed Mr. Bolito that I was taking it out. I don't think they have a problem with it. They would prefer that it stay in, but he said it's not a deal breaker. So I just want you to know that. There is no right of first refusal in this lease that's before you. It's a $1 a year lease. We pretty much pay a lot of the expenses. It says that the lessee pays utilities other than electricity, oil, heat, solar, and water, which shall be paid by the lessor. And I think that's the way it's been done for the last 30 years. We take care of it. We maintain the parking lot. Other than that, it's a pretty standard lease.
All right, any questions from the board?
Just quickly, and you answered my first one, which was comparing the old lease to this lease. There's nothing substantive, right?
No.
Okay. And the second thing is, you mentioned solar. Yeah, are there solar panels on that building or powering that building?
Yes.
Is there a brief update on that? I just don't remember from years past how much of our power for that building is generated by solar.
That's probably one of the solar power purchase agreements that we entered into.
Is
Well,
it?
it's also part of the microgrid that we put in place for police and fire. It
Oh, was
also
it?
covered the shelter at Operation Hope.
Okay.
And we can probably get Ed Bowman to come and give us an update on that if you'd like some further information,
Sure.
unless somebody from Operation Hope knows some background on that.
Is there a ballpark answer?
I don't think I can give you.
If you're going to speak,
Okay.
you need to come up. Just let us know who you are.
So I'm Carla Miklos, I'm the Executive Director at Operation Hope. How are you?
Welcome.
Thank you. So do you still want to know about the solar?
If you have a general answer, I just don't know
So
what.
the solar panels that are currently on there were part of the larger grant that the town did a couple of years back.
Okay.
It covers the majority of the electricity.
That was.
So it's actually, I believe, will probably start to generate income, actually, for the town. And so you maintain the panels, and
Mhm.
that's been working out fine. The question about the microgrid is that we've been on microgrid now 3 years, I think. And that's working out great for us because we're part of that emergency grid, so if anything happens, we don't lose power either.
Okay.
And the utilities that we would be responsible for would be cable, phones, alarms, those kinds of things.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it.
No, that's my question. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, I'll stay up here just a minute.
And just, I believe that under the terms of the lease, they're limited to 40 residents at a time, maximum.
All right. Any, Chris?
I fully support the lease. I support what you guys do at Operation Hope. It's much needed in this town, so you have my support on this.
Thank you.
This will be going to the RTM for a vote, even though I already went to the committee on
Okay.
Monday.
All right, very good. Any comments from the public? Mr. O'Torre, you'd come up to the podium and introduce yourself.
Didn't plan on making any points or anything. I was
If
just
you'd be
wondering...
kind enough to, as much as we know you, Roger, if you could
Okay.
just introduce yourself for the camera.
Roger O'Torre, 1310 Melville Avenue. Nobody. My only concern was the leases for another 10 years. It'll be in 2027. Has anybody in negotiating this new lease conferred with the public safety, either police, fire, or both, as to their needs, plans, whatever, in the next 10 years, so it doesn't come to a surprise when somebody says, we want to expand, we want whatever. Because the way it is now, the building is stuck in the middle of the parking lot. Most of that parking is by police cars or whatever that surround that building. So I was just wondering if anybody brought up that question.
Thank you. We limit it to comments, but I thank you very much for your comments.
Yep.
However, just to be absolutely clear, yes, I spoke to the police chief directly about this. He's in support of the extension of lease. There has been a lot of talk about what we do with our public safety campus. At this point, there are no specific plans. However, it just in looking at that place and realizing that location is in a flood zone, I would caution the town of making any significant investment in that. We have looked at, do we cut off the street, do we create some more parking, what I'll call relatively smaller investments that wouldn't impact the shelter location and would provide some additional parking for police and fire. But I don't see us making a significant investment in public safety in a flood zone, and we've seen how close flooding comes to that neighborhood in the past.
Anything further? I have nothing
Just
further.
one quick thing, is the right of first refusal, is it something that's in here that we need to take out, or
No.
just not put it
It
in?
is not in here.
Got it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, and congratulations. All right, next up, item 10. And Mr. Kylie, we're doing this a little bit differently than we did in the
Yeah, I saw the
prior term.
spreadsheet, yeah.
From the tax collector, to consider and act upon tax refunds as recommended by the tax collector in the amount of $10,139.96. May I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion.
A second?
Second.
All right, that item is before us. Any adjustments or discussion?
No, I confirm that it matches this number, so
It does, indeed.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Next up, item 11 is from the town attorney, a private executive session concerning pending litigation. May I have a, yes?
last time we talked about maybe identifying a small tidbit so the public knows what we're talking about. The town attorney said he was going to look into that and how Robert Rule says it should be listed on the agenda. Did we get any?
I did not yet.
Okay.
I will. This is, I think, a litigation.
All right, may I have a motion to go into private executive session?
Make a
A
motion.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, if we take time to shut down the TV and ask the... All right, we're back. May I have a motion to come into public session?
Make a motion.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're back in public session. I just want to note that while in private executive session, no motions were made and no votes were taken. However, now that we're back, may I have a motion to accept the attorney's recommendation?
I'll make a motion.
A second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Attorney Lottie, thank you very much.
Have a nice summer, gentlemen. Take
You
care,
too.
Mr. Lottie.
Enjoy.
All right. Next up, to hear, consider, and act upon any other business that shall properly come before this meeting. I don't know of any items.
I'd just like to let everybody know about the Great Street Parade in Southport this weekend. And I also believe that, give a heads up to the people, this is the road race weekend down in the beach area. So if you're planning on getting around that area in the morning time, you might want to detour.
Yeah, I think the police department does a good job of getting the word on that, but I absolutely agree with the blessing of the fleet. In terms, that's a once-in-a-lifetime event, and if you haven't been to that, you've got to come down to Southport and enjoy that. The Southport Parade and the Blessing of the Fleet, all kind of one event. that start marching through downtown and end up down at Ye Yacht Yard.
It starts at
So,
11, right?
Yes, yes. So I look forward to seeing you at 11 on Saturday morning. Any further items?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn? Second? All right,
Second.
second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're done.